Hello! Today I've got something pretty cool to show you. So a couple of weeks ago I made a video on the warp trick. So the warp trick was a cool little idea where you can use ender pearls and chunk unloading to basically create save points where you can return to whenever you wish. And that's cool. But today I actually have a variation of that so that you can actually travel really long distances and not just medium distances. So let me give you a demonstration of this. So we have this big strip of chunks, okay? This spans about 1,800 blocks. And along this, every 450 blocks or so, we have these markers. So we've got 5 of them. So let me give you a demonstration. So I'm going to be using command blocks to teleport to each marker, just because this is a demonstration. Obviously, if you're in survival, you're going to be walking it, but you know, we've got to be speedy here. So what you want to do is, like last time, you're going to go to options, video settings, and turn your render distance down to 2 chunks. Okay, and now you're going to be all in fog because it's really low. So you want to go about 2 chunks away, so 32 blocks, but maybe go a little bit further, so maybe here would be good. And then chuck it off into the emptiness. Then we're going to teleport to the second marker. So we can't really see it because it's a bit too foggy, but you're going to go, yeah, like I said, a little bit further back. Throw that off into the emptiness. Teleport. Do it a third time. Like that. Teleport a 4th time. And then go to the finish line. So the 5th one should be around here somewhere. There we go, number 5. Now once you have done that, go into your F3 screen. So, well, you don't have to do this, but for demonstration we're going to. So look at the Z coordinate. It says 1,800, so Z1,800. So what we're going to do now is you want to go back into your video settings and you want to set your render distance all the way up to 32 chunks. Now this might get a little bit laggy, but that's not too big of an issue because we're not going to be using it for very long. And once you've done that, what's going to happen is we're going to be teleported right back to the beginning. So as you can see, we were at 1,850, but now we're back at 50, so 1,800 blocks travelled in seconds. And how it works is, of course, quite simple. So basically what we're doing, okay, so imagine these little blocks are chunks. So we go 2 blocks away, not 2 blocks, 2 chunks away, and we launch the ender pearl. So what we're doing, when we have our render distance set to 2 chunks, we're throwing the ender pearl into this chunk, but because the render distance is so low, the ender pearl enters unloaded chunks, and thus stops processing, so it doesn't land or anything. It just is stuck in midair until you go up to those chunks and load them. And basically, when you travel 32 blocks away, okay, so up to this point out here, if you were to set your render distance down back up to 32, then suddenly all of these chunks are loaded, including the one you stored the ender pearl in, and thus you teleport it to wherever the ender pearl lands. And that in itself is pretty good. 30 chunks is about 500 blocks, so a 500 block teleport is pretty cool. But like I said, we can go further than this, and we can basically stitch them together. So instead of setting it to 32 and teleporting back, what we can do is we can repeat the process, okay? So we can just relaunch another ender pearl here into this underloaded chunk, and just keep repeating the process however many times we want to until we get to our end. So then, when you set your render distance back to 32, what happens is you teleport to wherever the ender pearl is, but once you've done that, you've now loaded an entire new set of chunks, and one of those new chunks includes one of your previous ender pearls that you threw, and once you teleport to that one, the previous one again will become loaded, and it just basically creates this chain reaction until you get back to your starting point. So this is, of course, pretty cool. Now, there are, of course, some things to consider. So, like last time, it hasn't changed. This doesn't work in multiplayer, unfortunately, because that's not how they work. Multiplayer chunk loading and single-player chunk loading are a little bit different. But, you know, if you're a survival single player, then this could certainly be useful in many situations. Now, it, of course, does require some prep work. So you need to, you know, calculate when you need to throw them and stuff. But, I don't know, it's definitely got some uses in some ways when you want to teleport really long distances really quickly, and you could maybe even incorporate it into the nether, so you travel 8 times the distance, which would be really crazy. And that is pretty much all there is to the trick. If you enjoyed this video, a like is always appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.